Hello, Hawkeye Nation. I am your host, Keegan Jensen, back here again to chat about Iowa's dominant win over number 19 Pittsburgh. What an exciting night, firstly, and what a big jump from the national duels. I'm going to break it down match by match, and then I'll start taking some calls here. But first and foremost, I want to plug our sponsor, RTI Threads. Go shop them. They got some Iowa athletes there. They got a bunch of great stuff. Go check their page out. They really are a big supporter of the Hawkeye program and from the Hawkeye of the Storm. So, yeah, RTI Threads, go check them out. But let's get into it. What an awesome night and what a big step up from what we saw at the national duels. We look healthy. We look athletic. We look offensive. And I loved it from top to bottom. So real quick walkthrough here. We had number 7, Dean Peterson, started us off with an overtime win over Tyler Chappell. Maybe not Dean Peterson's best match, and definitely still some worries there about the offense and the inconsistency issues, but like to at least still see him get that done. And I will say Tyler Chappell had some great leg defense throughout that match. I mean, Dean Peterson was the clear aggressor. You'd like to see him win that match by more, but at least he was able to get it done. But then hopping into 133, Drake Iola, I thought looked a lot better, taking out number 32, Evan Talmadge, 13-4 with a major decision. He really got the ball rolling for this team, and I thought he looked a lot more on the offense this match, getting to his shots. I know he struggled to finish there at some points, but overall, I thought he did his thing. He looked solid. And then taking it to 141 with number 8, Nasir Bailey, taking out Anthony Centinelio, 4-2. I thought Nasir Bailey looked good. I know, again, just another decision, kind of like Dean Peterson's match, but he was getting after it. and he was getting into shots, and I thought he looked a lot more on the offense than he did, certainly than he did against Ohio State and Oklahoma State. And then at 149, how about Ryder Block? I've been hyping him up over and over again, and he just continues to impress. He looks like arguably the most offensive wrestler that we have right now. Just on the feet, it's leg attack after leg attack, and he truly just looks so dominant. I mean, he beat number 20 tonight in Cade Brown, who is a solid wrestler. I think he was 6-1 and off to a hot start of the season, but Ryder Block beat him 12-2 handily. That match was never in question. He was the clear favorite. Then we take it to 157, where Victor Voinovich was able to get a win over Vince Busakis, 11-6. I thought Voinovich looked great too. Another wrestler who was on the offense the entire time. Again, we can speculate all we want about Jordan Williams and why we're not seeing him. I don't know if there's injury issues or what it is, but Victor Voinovich was able to get the job done tonight. Then we hop into 165 pounds, and Mikey Caliendo gave what you expect from him, beating number 25 Dylan Evans by tech fall, 22-6. I thought he looked great as well. Same thing with 174. Patrick Kennedy looked fantastic. He got a major decision over number 14 Luca Augustine. He was on his offense the entire time, gassing him out, looked great. I thought that was consistent throughout the entire lineup tonight. And then at 184, how about getting to see Gabe Arnold in his debut? I really missed watching him, especially when he's on the offense and he's just on, like, he's just really on fire. Like, when he's in front of that home crowd, he really just wrestles different. And it reminded me so much of early season Gabe Arnold last year. And it was truly so fun to watch. So I loved getting to see him make his debut. And then at 197, match of the night. I mean, number 8, Masoma Dean takes out number 4, maxed out, previous All-American from last year, 5-4 on a last-second takedown. That is our RTI Threads wrestler of the duel, without a doubt. Masoma Dean, match of the night, also gets the Big Groves big play of the day with his last-second takedown. What a job by Masoma Dean. Truly such a fantastic match. We'll dive into it more later, but amazing. And then to wrap off the night on such a high note, getting to see Keter wrestle. He looked healthy. He looked back. Was awesome. I've heard so much about him and his labrum and whether or not he's going to be able to compete, if he's even going to be able to compete in the Iowa State duel. He showed up tonight. He looked great. He got it done against number 12. I thought it was fantastic. What a great night, top to bottom. Yes, Magic Mo. I think we have made that his nickname. It's Magic Mo, with the way that he's pulled off these matches, and he continues to just bring the fire every single match. So fun to watch. What a great meet. And yeah, I just, top to bottom, loved it. But now we got Alex in here. We're gonna get him on a call, and let's chat about how it went tonight.
Alex, good evening, Keegan. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm pretty good. This was, I think you already stated it, this was a kind of night and day difference between the Ohio State national duel and then this duel. I think shutting out a top 20 ranked team is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that you had stated it, Mo, was just, absolutely electric. It looked a little shaky there. He looked very tentative for the entire match. And then I think he kind of had that little spark of like, okay, I got to go. And he caught the guy kind of, I wouldn't like, just on his heels, was able to push him back and get that nice takedown. 4 seconds left, and a great win by him. He's still undefeated. I think the announcer said like 68 wins in a row. So it's a good job by him. The one thing, like if I'm picking nits here, I think the entire team looked really great. They got bonus points. Most of the guys got bonus points this time around. Dean just looked. So I wasn't able to watch the lighter weights. I was able to listen to Ironside, and he was talking about what Terry had said, or Tom had said, about we need to score early. We can't wait till the last 30 seconds of the match to actually start scoring. And it felt like Dean, just based on just listening to it, was pretty tentative. I know you said he was somewhat aggressive in the match, but I'm just going off of what I could hear from Ironside, and I can never remember the guy that he commentates with. And maybe someone in the chat could help me out with that, of who he normally commentates with. But I don't know if he was a little tentative with how that Ohio State duel went with him, where he was in on a shot and then just got stuck, got caught in a weird position, got put on his back and pinned. I know that can really mess with your mental, where it's like, I was aggressive. I got caught in a weird position and I ended up losing. I gave the other team 6 points. And I was always a lighter weight in high school. You tend to start us off. You kind of set the tone. If you lose, it's like, okay, now the team's got to dig themselves out of a hole. And it does mess with your mental capacity a little bit. So I don't know if he was still thinking about that. And then that Keeter match, it's nice to see him back. He did look a little rusty. So I don't know if that labrum's still a little, maybe bother him a little bit. Maybe he's healthy, just maybe the conditioning's not quite there yet. Those 2 cautions, again, picking it.
Yeah.
The first one, second one, Ben kind of like, what am I doing? Like I'm not moving. The guy underneath him was
Yeah.
moving. So yeah, it was, but I really don't have too much. I write down notes. I guess maybe Bailey. He was aggressive early, and then he kind of tapered off there near the end. Ryder Block looked really good. Vonovich with his first win. That's always nice to get that off your chest. And then Kennedy with a tech fall over a top 15 guy. That's always good to see. And I said it on the last show, where when you tech a guy, it's like you just had your way with him. A pin can be, guys just that much better than you, but usually you maybe not, not that good. But if you get teched, and you're in that top tier range, top 15, top 10 range, that says it's kind of a statement win by Kennedy. It's nice to see. And I think it's good vibes going into Iowa State. I know I came on here after the Ohio State duel. And it's like, oh man, if this team continues on this path, that Iowa State duel looks pretty sketchy. So, the Jordan Williams, I think if I said his name right, was he not wrestling? Is he injured, or they just decided to go with Victor on this one?
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't wanna speculate too much, but the last time we saw him was in that Illinois match where he wrestled a ranked wrestler and he just got the crap beat out of him, and he did not look like himself. So I don't know if it's an injury thing where he's just kinda got the injury bug right now, and maybe he's not fully healthy and they're trying to save him for the big duels. I'm really hopeful he'll wrestle against Iowa State. We're gonna need him. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why he's sitting. I know Voinovich is a pretty good backup, but it'd be nice to see Jordan Williams getting matches, especially because he's one of our guys who's looked a little bit gassed. We need him wrestling as much as possible. I don't know what it is, but clearly there's something going on. He would have wrestled tonight if there wasn't.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
and they showed Angelo too. It's like, oh, he's not wrestling because he got pretty beat up in nationals. I think he got poked in the eye, and I think his right eye was kind of bloodshot a little bit. So
yeah. No, I think there's a chance we would have seen Gabe Arnold anyway, just because this was a good time to get him his first match against an unranked opponent, maybe rest Angelo, even if he wasn't already beat up. That just kind of makes it even more of a point to do it. But I think what you touched on with Dean Peterson and Nasir Bailey, I think both of them, it's pretty obvious they were a little shook up with how the Ohio State duel went. So maybe they had some hesitations heading into this match. But that's why it's so great that we wrestled Pittsburgh before we wrestled Iowa State, because we got a chance. Like this, I would say every single
this
match.
is a confidence building
Yes,
win for
right.
everybody.
And this was the most reassuring way this could have gone. Like, I feel so much better about that Iowa State duel. We now know Keeter is probably good to go for the Iowa State duel, and everybody looks healthy. Everybody looked a lot better. And it was good to just get those matches out of the way, even against, if you're wrestling an unranked opponent, it's good to just get one back after a loss and to really get going heading into that Iowa State duel, which is obviously going to be very exciting. But yeah, and then I agree with what you were saying about the Keeter match. I mean, the only downside really was those cautions that seemed a little bit iffy, but I feel like, Keeter, maybe if that labrum's bugging him, that's kind of gonna be how he has to win matches this year. He's gonna have to ride guys out. He's gonna have to get out on bottom, which I thought he did great against, a number 12 ranked wrestler. I thought it was a good first match back, especially since he's probably not in the best shape he can be.
No.
Yeah.
So what I know Angelo I think he's a redshirt freshman, right? He didn't wrestle enough matches to burn the redshirt. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, yeah. Who'd you say? Sorry.
Angelo
Yeah,
Ferrari.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
He didn't wrestle enough matches.
What's the future for now? So I'm gonna, before I ask the question, I think it's great. I know we saw earlier in the year before wrestling even started that Gabe Arnold had left the program, and it was like, well, maybe he thought like, I don't have a future here. I'm probably not going to crack the lineup. And then he came back, and there's been a lot of stuff of him, supporting his teammates, talking them up. showing that support, and that's good to see. But what is his future? Because I've always thought I mean, last year, actually the year before, 2 years before, where he was a freshman, and he kind of is doing what Mo's doing. Granted, Mo, he's been in wrestling for a while now, obviously at smaller schools, but he came in, he kind of took, Iowa and the wrestling world by storm, and then
Mhm.
people kind of figured him out. Last year, I thought he was going to have a better year than what he did, and he kind of tapered off near the end. What is his future? Because he is a good wrestler, but it's just, where does he fit into this Iowa team? Because Angelo's obviously got that spot pretty locked down. Yeah, I mean, it's does he move up a weight class?
Yeah, so my thought with that was, well, first to touch on last year, I mean, yeah, I mean, he was wrestling so great last year. Like I was like, this is everything we wanted from Gabe Arnold. I think he started 12-0 or something like that. He was ranked top 10. He was just looking great. You expect him to be a place winner. And I know last year didn't finish the way he wanted. And Brands kind of touched on that in his press conference at the beginning of the year. He said that Arnold walked away from the team on his own, kind of just dealing with the result of how last year went and the fact, that probably the fact that he wasn't going to have a role in the lineup this year and he's losing a year of eligibility. But I would say his future, I mean, I would hope that right now he could still make 174. He looked pretty chunky tonight at 184. Like he looked like he
Yeah,
could get down to 174 if he needed to. My hope is that Kennedy's going to be gone next year. That 174 weight class will be open. I'm hoping that he can make it down and wrestle 174 so we can have him and Ferrari back to back. Cause yeah, I mean, 197, I just feel like he'd be such a small 197. Like with his height and his build, it would just be, I feel like he would kind of he wouldn't be the strongest 197. So I really hope that he can make 174. And I hope that that's kind of the plan for him. I'm sure right now he's making 184 really easily. He looked like he was. So yeah, I would hope his future is that he's holding down 174 for Iowa for the next 2 years after this. But if not, I mean, you got to look at 197. You got to look at doing something else with him because we can't have a wrestler that good sitting on the bench the next 2 years. It just can't
yeah.
happen. This has got to be like a one-time thing with how good he is and what he could do.
And he doesn't have a red shirt available, does he?
No, he used it which it sucks. Like looking back, hindsight's 2020, obviously, but that his first year he wrestled those 5 matches and retained his red shirt. And there was a lot of people, saying that maybe they should pull it because of how good he looked. But they were like, we'll trust the process, give red shirt him this year, and then he'll be a 4-year starter. Well, obviously things did not end up going that way. They got Ferrari. Kennedy ended up surging and being so fantastic that now he's sitting on the bench. It would have been nice to maybe redshirt him this year, looking back, but obviously that's not going to end up being the case. But yeah, he does not have a red shirt, so he will be losing his sophomore year of eligibility this year.
Mm, dang. And kind of touching on that with maybe a little bit of Keeter, something that is always when he started wrestling for Iowa, he was always been just a smaller heavyweight. Um, is to me personally, I think that's always going to hold him back to being truly, truly great, is because he's going to go against guys that are just much bigger than he is. I don't know what he's currently at right now, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 285 is the max.
Yeah, that's the max. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what he's currently at, but he doesn't look at 285. But when you get to the your Gable Stevenson, not necessarily in talking in talent wise, but in size wise, when you're giving up 20, 30 extra pounds, it means a lot. You can be
Mhm.
a strong mother effer, but
Mhm.
man, you get 30, 20, 30 pounds leaning on you for 7 minutes, it wears you out pretty quick. So
Yeah, and I think the fact that Keeter was an All-American last year with what he weighs is just such a testament to how much talent he has. He's such a great wrestler, but if anything is gonna hold him back, it is that weight. Like, what would stop him from being a national champion would be that weight, and he was the level of a recruit where you would expect him to be a national champion by his senior year, but it's just he falls in that range, and that's such a tough thing with from jumping from 197 to 285. You just got so many guys that fall right in the middle there, and Drayshawn Ross, who went to Oklahoma State, he's another one of those guys that kind of reminds me of that type of build where he's going to be 240-ish. Maybe he'll be a bit bigger by the time he finally steps out there, but or maybe he's even going to go down to 197. I don't know what they have planned for him, but he falls in that range too, where he's just kind of in the middle there. It's a tough place to be, and it really puts them at a disadvantage, I feel like.
yeah, it's almost, I mean, I know in high school, well, at least when I was in high school, it was 215. We had in between those two weight classes. I know they don't have one in college, but it seems like, you get kids like Keeter and other kids like, and that even that kid he wrestled was a little smaller as at a heavyweight. It
Mhm.
seems very unfortunate that you have these talented wrestlers that you have such a big gap between, your 197 and then your heavyweight, which can go almost 100 pounds extra, to where you're giving up that, extra, 80 pounds in some cases. But so I think it's a great win. I think this Iowa can ride this confidence and go into Iowa State. Obviously, don't get too cocky with it. Good win by Bo. I think that's really gonna build his confidence. He did seem a little timid tonight going against the number 4 ranked guy.
Mhm.
And then I think maybe with that last second takedown, it's just like, okay, maybe he's found a little bit of juice, maybe something to add to his arsenal of, like, he looks pretty strong too. I mean,
Yeah.
he looks, like he could, push some people around. So hopefully he can use that to his advantage. So yeah, hopefully we can come on here and talk another Cy-Hawk victory for Iowa wrestling. I would hate for that to come to end. I don't know how long it's been going on, but it's I know Iowa has held this streak of wins against Iowa State for a very long time now. It's hate to hate to see it come to an end. So hopefully we can
Yeah.
come on here and say, you know, Iowa still Iowa
Yeah.
State's still a little brother.
I
So
hope we'll be having a very positive conversation about that next Sunday. That's certainly my hope. So,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, have a good night, Keegan. Have a
Yeah,
good
you
weekend.
too. Thanks for coming on in here. Okay, so, here, I'll answer some of your questions that you guys, commented while we were talking. So, yes, I do coach high school, but I am planning on having a show each duel. My high school schedule doesn't line up too badly with the college schedule. So, if anything, there's only gonna be one that's really an issue, but I'm hoping that we can, make it work, you know? And, yeah, I agree with this. I think Harvey Ludington will be holding down 97 the next 4 years. He's a great recruit. I would hope that Arnold can make 74 because our lineup's gonna be crazy having Arnold, Ferrari, and Ludington back to back to back. And yeah, Patrick Kennedy, how about that? I mean, wrestled Augustine last year at nationals and won in overtime 7-6. Tonight he majored him 11-2. I mean, just watching him wrestle, even not even looking at the opponent, not looking at the result, looking at the way that Patrick Kennedy looks, how offensive he is, how on the gas he is the entire match. He truly just looks so great, and it's been so fun to watch. Um, yeah, I was gonna say I think Ben weighs somewhere between 240 and 250. Yeah, I figured he's around that 245 mark. And yeah, that's a tough place to be. You know, some of these guys are gonna have 25 pounds on you, and that's a lot when you're that big of a guy. And especially when Ben Keeter's gonna be counting on riding guys out this year because of that labrum and maybe being held back a little bit. He's gonna need to ride guys out, and it's gonna be tough when he's gonna have to wrestle someone that's 270 and really tough. T. Hank asks, what happened with Bo Bassett? That's kind of too much to hop into right now. That's a really long story, but me and Corey did a great video about that a couple months ago when everything originally went down. Go check that out. We explain everything pretty thoroughly. But yeah, what a great night and what just a great look heading into Iowa State, like me and Alex just talked about. And we're gonna, preview Iowa State a little bit, but one more time, I just kind of want to talk about tonight and what we saw. I thought every wrestler looked very offensive, even Dean Peterson and Nasir Bailey, who kind of maybe squeaked out wins in the scorebook, I still thought looked fairly aggressive. They were taking shots the entire time. Maybe they weren't finishing to the best of their ability, but they looked good. And yeah, I fully agree. This is exactly what Iowa needed. I couldn't have pictured this going any better. I couldn't have dreamed it up or drew it up any better than it went. Having Keeter wrestle, having the whole team win, everybody looked offensive. Everybody looked so much better. We had all our starters wrestle tonight except for Ferrari and Jordan Williams, but everybody looked great. We're going to have everybody locked in and ready to go, it looks like, for Iowa State, and we're going to need it because they got a very, very solid team this year. So, yeah, once again, I just want to mention that our RTI Threads wrestled the duels with Soma and Dean. Can't talk about that match enough. We'll be talking about it a year from now with how exciting it was. Just watching Carver go crazy on that last second takedown. I mean, I was watching it live while I was setting up the show, and I really kind of had wrote him off. I was like, man, and Dean looked great. Even though I thought he was potentially going to lose, I was like, and Dean looked so solid tonight. Just was on the offense, and he proved he can really be a place winner. And then he took him down, and I'm like, man, Magic Mo, and with the big play of the day as well with that last second takedown. So what a great job by him. And I truly just thought he looked so aggressive, so in shape, just outstyled him, really. I mean, he was down at the beginning and he came back and won, and just like he did against Oklahoma State. And that's what, as Iowa wrestlers, we have to do. We break people, we beat them at the end. And tonight we saw a lot of that. Everybody looked in good shape. Everybody was wrestling the entire time. So now let's shift focus a little bit into the preview for the biggest duel of the year thus far in Iowa State next Sunday. And I will actually be live on the scene for that duel. I'm going to watch it, and then I'm going to start a live show after, report back to you guys. So I'll see all of it in person. I'll be there. I'll be getting all the updates throughout the week. I'm going to be looking at, who might wrestle where, what might happen. But I got kind of an initial preview of what we are potentially going to see. Aaron, I really appreciate this. I am trying my best. This is my third show, so I'm still getting used to it and trying to get the hang of things. And I really enjoy just coming on here, chatting wrestling with everybody. It's been a blast. So, looking ahead at Iowa State, I could not be more excited about this duel. And every day before this duel is going to seem like the longest day ever because we truly got such a good duel on our hands. So at 125, it looks like it's going to be our number 7, Dean Peterson, versus number 10, Steve O'Paulin. This is a very good match. Two similarly ranked wrestlers, two wrestlers that let it fly. And I know we've seen some inconsistency with Dean Peterson, but if there's one thing that he can do, it's win these big matches in the big moments, just like he did against Spradley. So we need him to step up. That's going to be a huge flip match in this duel. I always call them flip matches. They're duels. They're matches that could flip the entire duel. You might lose by 2, and this match is the match you look back at. We need Dean Peterson to wrestle his best. Then you got number 3, Drake Iola versus number 6, Evan Frost. Talk about having another flip match. I mean, every single match could flip this duel on its head. This is going to be a crazy match. I'm pretty sure they've had some goes in the past where it's been really close. So I'm expecting them to just let it fly. And I'm expecting to see Iola hopefully finish on top. I know he looks good tonight, and I'm hoping he can continue that, sitting at number 3 in the rankings right now. So we need him to be locked and ready to roll. And then another one at 141. I mean, every single one of these matches, it's like they could be the match of the duel. You got number 8, Nasir Bailey versus number 7, Anthony Echemendia. And Anthony Echemendia, I know a lot about him. A couple years ago, he was an All-American. He's a super tough wrestler. He was out last year with an injury, but he just about beat Kyle Parko, who, if you guys remember watching him last year, Kyle Parko is an absolutely great wrestler. So, yeah, I mean, Anthony Echemendia is the real deal, and he's going to let it fly. And if Nasir Bailey has looked like he looks, it could be a tough day for him. But I'm expecting Nasir Bailey to be on his A game, ready to go. And what I really worry about the most with that matchup is Anthony Echemendia having more strength than him, because I know he's cutting to that 141 weight class while Nasir Bailey is going up to it. I mean, I'm sure Nasir is still cutting to 141, but he was 133 last year. So expect to see some fireworks on that match as well. But that's going to be another match that could certainly decide this duel. So then at 149, hopefully we see Ryder Block. If not, we'll be seeing Kale Voinovich, but I would expect to see number 10 Ryder Block take on number 2 Panero Johnson, or potentially Jacob Frost, who got 7th last year at Nationals. But I expect to see number 2 Panero Johnson. This is another huge test for Ryder Block. Ryder Block's got 1 loss this year, and it was to a previous All-American, and it was on, a takedown in the 3rd period. He looked great tonight. He's beaten 2 top 10 wrestlers. He's a top 10 wrestler himself now, and he'll probably move up after his performance tonight. So he's got to give Panero Johnson everything he's got, bottom line, and we need to stay in that match, and I hope that we can. Panero is a great wrestler, as everyone knows, and a guy that's going to be trying to compete for a national title this year, but I would expect to see Ryder Block hanging in there and give him the best he's got. Then at 157, hopefully we will see Jordan Williams making his return. Obviously, he hasn't wrestled the last 3 matches for Iowa in duels. If we don't see Jordan Williams, it will be Victor Voinovich, but I'm really hoping to see Jordan Williams take on number 3, Vince Zerbin, who has been really good for Iowa State so far. And yeah, is obviously sitting at number 3 in the rankings. So, but Jordan Williams can beat anybody. If he is on, he can truly beat anybody. And I mean that, and I feel so confident in that. So I would never rule us out of that match. I'm hoping Jordan Williams is good to go, and I'm hoping he's not injured and that, or the cut is, something he's struggling with. Yeah, so I'm just hoping he's going to be good to go. And yes, Dennis, thank you for this. I couldn't remember it off the top of my head, and I didn't get time to look at it before the duel, but I thought that Peterson wrestled him last year. He lost to him last year 6-4, and I was actually talking to my brother about that. I did think he lost to him last time he wrestled him, but that's a really close match, and obviously it can go either way, so let's hope we can see a win there. But Steve O'Paulin is no slouch. That's a really good wrestler. So, but yeah, then looking at 165, we got Michael Caliendo versus number 22, Connor Houghton. Connor Houghton's someone that I got to watch wrestle in person a few times last year. He's great, high gas tank, high motor. He's going to stay on Caliendo the entire match. He's going to stay close with him. give him everything he got. I know Connor Newton got injured early in the year last year, wasn't able to finish out the year, but he looked good in the select few matches that he wrestled. So we need Caliendo to look for bonus there, but either way, hopefully we can pick up a win there. 174, we got Patrick Kennedy versus number 11, MJ Guyton. MJ Guyton's great. He's someone that they have a lot of faith in. Dressers spoke about him a lot and just how much they believe in him over there. Yeah, that's going to be another match where I'm just hoping that we can take care of business. I mean, Patrick Kennedy tonight majored number 14, so let's hope that we can do the same thing to number 11 and just be ready to go. 184, we got number 1, Angelo Ferrari or Gabe Arnold. I would hope that we'll see Ferrari versus number 10, Isaac Dean. Isaac Dean, the transfer out of Ryder. I watched Isaac Dean every match last year at the national tournament. I think Ferrari matches up with him really well and can take it to him. I expect us to win this match. Not sure if we can get bonus. Ferrari obviously has kind of struggled to get bonus so far this year. He's been offensive though, and I expect him to win this match pretty handily, but I would hope that he can be pushing for bonus. If not getting bonus, we will see. And then at 197, obviously was our wrestler of the duel today, and a guy that's just been on fire is Masoma Ndine. We got number 8 Masoma Ndine versus number 2 Rocky Elam. Rocky Elam is great. He is number 2 for a reason, and he is a really good wrestler, and he's even a jump up from number 4 Maxed Out, who we saw tonight and beat in the last second takedown. Masoma Ndine, though, with how great he has been, I never am going to rule him out of any match, and if he wants to compete for a national title, he's going to have to get through someone like Rocky Elam. So expect that to be a match to watch, and I'm going to be just as excited for it as I was for that match tonight. 285, we'll see number 6, Ben Keeter, or Easton Fleshman, or even potentially Gage Marty if he's back from injury, against number 1, Yonger Bastida. Hopefully we'll be seeing Keeter. I got all the faith in the world that we will be after he wrestled tonight against Pittsburgh. I think he's ready to go. He eased into it tonight. I'm sure he'll be practicing this week, getting ready for that match. But Yonger Bastida is a really, really good wrestler. I know everybody probably remembers Wyatt Hendrickson beating Gable Stevenson last year in the national finals. Well, last time that Yonger Bastida was healthy, he beat Wyatt Hendrickson, and he was undefeated heading into the national tournament and was the 2 seed. He had a bad national tournament, wasn't able to place, but we know what he can do. He's number 1 again for a reason, was out last year due to injury. And just like Anthony Echemendia, but this Iowa State team is locked and loaded, and they are going to bring their best to Iowa just like they always do. So looking at it, I was doing some calculations about, how we're favored at, and, just kind of what we could see. I'm kind of, expecting this to be close, but I do expect us to be the slight favorite if everybody wrestles. And that means Jordan Williams wrestling. That means Ben Keeter wrestling. I would expect us to be a slight favorite there, but obviously we will be talking about all this next Sunday after the duel is over. I'm going to be there in person, like I said, seeing everything, and I'll bring it back and with all my notes and talk about this stuff with you guys. But again, what a night. Biggest step up that we possibly could have had heading into Iowa State. And I truly feel very good about it. I don't think that this tonight could have gone any better, like I said before. But real quick, I want to go over to RTI Threads webpage. I know we talked about them earlier. They got a lot of great stuff. Go check out your Iowa athletes like Aaron Graves. Plenty of stuff on here that is worth looking at, and just high quality gear, high quality apparel. Go and get it, rep our guys and support someone that's supporting from the Hawkeye of the Storm. So they're great, and we love the support. So go check them out for us if you can. Thank you. So yeah, I covered everything pretty quickly. Really appreciate all the positive comments and just the things that you guys have to say. I appreciate all you guys hanging in there with me tonight, and what a duel. I know it kind of leaves you wanting more with how great the team looked tonight, how much we saw out of them. Obviously, the next one is a huge one. We are more than ready for Iowa State. I couldn't have more confidence in this team. We're going to be good to go. We're going to look great, and I'm expecting to just take it to them the best that we can. So Iowa, I want to say that we've beat them 14 times straight now. It could be 12. That's off the top of my head, so I'm not positive, but we beat them a multitude of times straight. And I expect to do it again. Dennis says we'll be favored 33, 65, 74, and 84. We need to get bonus from those higher 3. Need to sneak a win from someone like 25 or 49. I think we can get ISU tired at 49 with our offense and even get stall calls. Totally agree. We'll definitely be, slightly favored at 33, definitely favored at 65, 74, and 84. And those 3, 65, 74, 84, I would say 2 of those 3 would be essential. If we could get 2 out of those 3 matches to end in bonus, it would be huge. And we just need Drake Iowa to take care of business at 33. But 49 is obviously, it's a match I highlighted, and I think it's a very important match with Ryder Block against Panero Johnson. Panero Johnson has gotten out of shape sometimes, and looked tired and sluggish in these matches. And obviously Ryder Block is not out of shape. So if there's one thing that we're going to use to our advantage in that match, it's going to be Ryder Block's shape, his gas tank, and sticking in there with Panero Johnson till the end. I am confident enough to say that I have, no question that Ryder Block is going to be able to go the whole match with Panero Johnson. I do not think he'll get teched. I do not think he'll get pinned. He will be in there the entire time, in my opinion. And it's just about gassing him out, finding your moment, staying on offense the entire time, like Ryder Block does. And yeah, we talked about that. I would have said that too at the beginning of the year. I'd have been like, all right, Endine against number 2 Elam. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say maybe not a week ago, but definitely before he came to Iowa, I just thought there was no way. I would have been like, no, Elam is really good. I've watched him wrestle a lot. I would not think that there's a chance that we could win that match. But after tonight, and Dean's on top of the world, who can he not be? And everybody should be so fired up about Endine. He said after the national duels, I know some of you probably saw it, but he had a quote going around where he was like, I'm just a D3 guy. I'm just a D3 guy. I'll just keep wrestling. You guys just keep calling me D3 guys. I'll keep going and beating these ranked opponents, and call me whatever you want me, but I'll just keep winning. And that had me so fired up. Like just the fact that he hears that people are just being like, he's just a D3 guy. Masoma Endine has done more than enough to prove he is clearly not just a D3 guy. He's not a D3 wrestler. And if how he did at the D3 level wasn't enough to prove that, how he's done in these last couple of weeks is more than enough to prove that. And I cannot wait to see what he can do next week. Dustin wants a prediction on the spot. That one's pretty tough, but if I had to predict, which, Iowa and Iowa State is known to be completely unpredictable, but if we're just looking straight at how I feel, I'll take it through each match here. I think Dean Peterson and Steve O'Pollen, I'm going to give us edging out that match because Dean Peterson really knows how to show up in those big spots, and I see him avenging a loss. I'm not super positive on that one. That's one of the 50-50 ones, but say we start out up 3-0 there. Then I'll take Ayala over Frost. I totally got faith in Ayala. That'd be 6-0. I'm going to take Echemendia beating Nasir Bailey. That would be 6-3. I'd take Panero Johnson beating Ryder Block. I think we can keep that to decision, though. I'd say 6-6 there. If Jordan Williams wrestles, we will predict this as if Jordan Williams is wrestling. I honestly would be comfortable enough to predict him over Zurban if he's at his best, but I'll give Zurban that match, making it 9-6 Iowa State. I'd give Caliendo at least a major over Uten. So let's say 10-9 Iowa after 165. I'll give Kennedy a win over Guyton, 13-9 Iowa. I'll give Ferrari a win over Dean, 16-9 Iowa. I'll give Elam a win over Endine, even though it hurts my heart. And I don't even want to predict that match because, Endine really could pull it off. But I think I said it was 16-9, so that'd be 16-12. And then Keter over Younger Bastida. I would say Younger Bastida by decision, but that'd be a really good match. But that would have Iowa winning 16-15. I think we're going to see it be somewhere around there. I think, looking at it top to bottom, if it goes the way that I think it will, I got us by a couple of points. But like I said, Peterson's match could easily be flipped. He could easily lose to Poland. The same way that, Nasir Bailey could maybe pull it out against Echemendia, or Williams could pull it out against Zurban, or, Caliendo could do worse to Uten. Kennedy could do worse to Guy, and Ferrari could do worse to Dean. You could see tons of different outcomes come from this duel. I don't think my prediction will even be slightly correct. I don't have too big of an ego to say that I'm going to 100% nail this on the head, but I do think that it's going to be somewhere around, like a 16-15 kind of result where it's going to be really close and it's going to come down to those final matches. At best, I see Iowa winning by, maybe 7 points. At worst, I see us losing by 4 or 5. And, Dennis, I completely agree. I think it'll be somewhere around here, 17-16. Pretty close where it'll come down to those last few matches. But I would say for the majority, what keeps Iowa ahead, in my opinion, in these predictions is that I don't feel like there's any place where I can confidently say we are going to give up bonus to them besides maybe 149. But with the way Ryder Block has looked, I don't want to confidently say that whatsoever. But there is 3 matches with Patrick Kennedy, Angelo Ferrari, and Michael Caliendo that I think we are in the driver's seat with potential to get bonus there. I think that will make the difference in this duel, because this could easily be a duel that ends up being 5-5 as far as who wins what. But the bonus will make the difference, and we need to get that bonus. It's something we struggled with this year. But a guy like Caliendo, a guy like Patrick Kennedy, they haven't been struggling with this. Expect them to do it. we're favored at the right weights, and I feel very confident about it. And you're totally welcome, Dustin. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the comments. So yeah, I think that's just about all I got. Totally appreciate all you guys coming on here with me tonight. It's been a blast to do this. So this will be my third one wrapped up, and I'm totally excited to do the fourth one after the Iowa State duel. And, like me and Alex talked about, hopefully me and him will be having a very positive call once that duel is done. And we will be talking about how fantastic Iowa looked, and we'll be looking on to our bigger duels. And, I don't want to jump the gun, but if the team looks like it does tonight, Keeter gets healthy, Williams gets back out there on the mat, there's no telling what we can do next time we see Ohio State. There's no telling what we can do next time we see Oklahoma State. And there's no telling how close we could be to Penn State. Not saying we could beat Penn State, not even saying that we're going to be, favored in many matches there whatsoever. But with the way the team looked tonight, I'm hoping they can keep it up against good competition. And this, the potential is limitless if they wrestle like this day in and day out. So, yeah, like I said, I really appreciate you guys coming in here and talking to me. I know it's brief, but obviously they only wrestled one duel tonight, and we're looking on to the next one that's really big. I'm sure we'll have a much longer chat after the Iowa State duel. But again, I appreciate all of the support, and I've felt very welcomed by the community. And yeah, so you'll be seeing me here next Sunday. Thank you guys all for tuning in. You guys have a great rest of the night. Thanks again.